this episode.
Unfortunately, we live in a world of instant gratification.
Anything that's an obstacle is worth pursuing.
I think that one of the toughest things for young athletes to understand, and they don't like hearing it, like I can't even tell you how many times I've said, stick to the process, keep pushing forward, right?
Don't settle too early where you end up cashing in your chips and saying, you know what, I've completely lost, I'm done with this.
Learning to work through adversity is a skill that will literally pay dividends for the rest of your life.
Stop crying. Get after it. Push the envelope, bro. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of The Closing Pitch. My name is Spiker Helms, and this show is about people, culture, and how to create a winning lifestyle. Is that like the best? I think that's the best impersonation of a radio talk show host.
With like the fake voice.
From like the 90s, like when everyone listened to the radio.
Like the Johnny Carson voice?
Johnny Carson wasn't in radio.
What's he in?
He was late night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my bad.
Do you remember Kurt Copeland from Z0177?
Kinda.
Everyone from St. Louis probably is like, oh yeah, I know who that is.
Kinda.
Didn't
he have like wacky hair?
Yeah, wacky hair, and like this was like Blink 182 days. By the way, I have been absolutely addicted to Blink 182. My nostalgia is just in full gear right now.
Give us a little song.
I can't say that. But I'm addicted to After Midnight, and I didn't realize this. But
is that a song?
It's a song. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Most underrated.
I thought you were saying you were addicted to Blink 182 after midnight.
No. This is 24/7. 24/7.
Okay.
But this song came out in 2011, and the band like was big in 04 and like 05. And it has to be the most underrated song of all of their albums.
I'll have to give it a listen.
It's pretty salty. It's pretty good.
Have to give it a listen.
Guys, in this episode, what I want to talk about is in the previous episode 135 on scholarship dreams. I had a little segment in the highlight of that podcast episode where I talked about pushing the envelope, and thinking when I was editing and thinking about it, I think a lot of people could take that the wrong way, which is, what do you mean by pushing the envelope is a loser's mentality? That's not a loser's mentality. Like, if it's not working, I just have to quit. But the things that were correct in that statement was not pushing the envelope is a loser's mentality. What was wrong with that statement is settling is bad. Settling is not bad. It's just a matter of knowing and the timing of when to settle. Settling early on when you're still in the journey is a loser's mentality. Like, if you think about any big goal or audacious thing that you've gone after, it's not the end result that you're like super happy about. You always have this nostalgia of the journey and what the journey was like. Like, example, Blink 182 songs that I listen to, that takes me directly back to 8th grade, 9th grade, having all these big dreams and aspirations, obviously getting into girls, all the things, and like doing stuff with friends and having that close-knit community. It takes me back to that. And when you're in that journey, you think about like, oh, this is what I'm going to be. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then you end up becoming that. It's like, oh, that's what it was? That's it? But the journey of the aspect of the things really drove you forward, and you kept on thinking about it. So when it comes to the college aspect and going after the D1 dreams, I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't go after your D1 dreams. What I'm here to tell you is that if you do set that audacious goal, that is a massive undertaking. Do not mistake it. It is a massive undertaking. But don't settle too early where you end up cashing in your chips and saying, you know what, I've completely lost. I'm done with this. Because what a lot of guys do in this baseball industry is, if they don't get recruited out of their junior year, they think it's all over. If they don't get any phone calls on the 4th week of the season, their junior summer season, they think it's all over. And then they just literally trash the rest of the season. When in reality, they have technically 3 to 4 more years. And they don't see the other outlets. They only think of first order thinking. They don't think about second, third, fourth. What's the next step? They're moving in checkers. That's what they're doing. You move this space, I'll move that space. Rather than playing chess. I know I use this analogy a lot, but playing chess and using the knight, using the rook, instead of using a damn pawn. Because that's what guys are doing. They're just pawns moving in a single space, single move, not thinking about the long run, which again, it's so hard to do because short-term thinking is that I want to be known at the party as the D1 athlete. Oh, that's Frank. He's going to Notre Dame. No one gives a shit.
Unfortunately, we live in a world of instant gratification. And I go to this all the time with young athletes because obviously that's what we work with. But anything you want in this world is pretty much a click away on your phone. I mean, you can get any information. You can grab any type of video or whatever you want now. And I think that one of the toughest things for young athletes to understand, and they don't like hearing it, like, I can't even tell you how many times I've said, stick to the process, keep pushing forward, right? I've said that a million times. They don't want to hear it. They want it now. They want that opportunity now. They see that somebody else got it, so they want it. And sometimes when they don't get that instant gratification when they think they should, that they think they've earned it, it's very, very easy for them to pivot, to settle too early. You see what I'm saying? It's the hardest thing, I think, honestly, in this whole journey for those young athletes to kind of grasp.
It's a damn status thing, and like status moves a lot of things, like it does. But you know how many people texted me when I signed with Missouri State? 0. Do you know how many people texted me when we made a regional? And we played against the University of Miami and then we ended up beating them? 0. No one cares. No one cares that you've gone to this big school. They just don't. And they might say it behind your back, but you'll never hear about it. And that's what you're chasing after, because what happens is that you're in those circles that are talking about the guy that ends up going to Notre Dame or going to Stanford or playing in Major League Baseball. But you don't realize that that person that's living that life doesn't hear those things. Mm-hmm. And the only time that you do hear those things is when you're at the top pinnacle, like a Derek Jeter, a Michael Jordan, you name the athlete, Tom Brady. That's when you start realizing, like, oh, I am somebody. Like, I am a celebrity. Like, if you're a Division I athlete, you're not a celebrity. I hate to say it. You're not a celebrity.
Not in this sport.
No, not in baseball. Like, name. If you're playing baseball right now and you're in middle school and high school, name me one college baseball player right now without looking it up. You have no idea who that person is. No idea. No. Now, you might be able to name someone that's in your local community that end up going to Vanderbilt, but I'm saying a top player. Like, do you know who Christian Little is? He's a top player for LSU. Do you know who Tommy Tanks is? Tommy White down in LSU. Do you know that person? No. The reason is because you don't live in that community. You don't start realizing who that person is. You're not a celebrity at the college game. So this idea that we're living in this high school world because you want to be a celebrity inside your high school, bro, you're not going to talk to those people in like 5 years. Not even when you get to college. You might talk to a couple of them and when you're sophomore, junior year, but it's over. So why do we care about us cashing it in on a D1 dream because we're not getting the phone call our junior year? It's so that we can end up telling our friends, oh yeah, the University of Mississippi gave me a call.
tough to tell a young 17-year-old that, though.
Oh, I get it because I've been there. My junior year, you know how frustrating it was sitting on a bench when I'm hearing all these people going to these schools. The thing that popped into my head was, I just want to play baseball. I just want to play innings. And settling for junior college, that took a lot from me because I wanted to be that guy that ended up saying, hey, I'm going to the University of Missouri. But I wasn't that guy. Now, I basically had a chip on my shoulder when I got to junior college, and I end up getting into Missouri State. I had a hit list. I knew who those guys were that were on those teams that I was playing on in high school, and I saw them on our list on the season, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to bat in the top of the order. I'm going to start, and I hope that person is at the bottom of the order or not playing. Because I want, and this is what's weird about it, is that drove me to be a starter in Division I baseball.
Sure. I mean, can I say something? You're a unicorn these days. It's so hard telling a young athlete that, okay? Telling somebody that they should, instead of using that as fuel to drive them, rather than looking at the easy way out because they haven't gotten the offer they want yet, that is a unicorn today, because adversity is so easy to pivot away from adversity for a young athlete. They really shy away from it. It's not something that's used as fuel. It's not something that's used to drive them that, okay, you hear no once, okay, I'm going to keep going. They're so quick to literally just say, I'm done with this, I'm on to this. I mean, I have seen kids in the recruiting process be all in. I mean, spend every waking second, day working at it. And then they get to that point in their mind that they think they've earned, and it's just not their time yet. And all of a sudden, they're like, I'm done with baseball. All because they didn't get the big offer, the big opportunity that they think everybody gets, right? And they just pivot, and they quit. There's not a lot of resilience these days. I hate to say that, but that is the truth. But on the flip side, that also is what is a huge separator from the guys who are actually going to stick. One of the biggest problems, too, that we see today is that, okay, you get that big offer, and then you face resilience and adversity in college, and you're not equipped to handle it, and you're out. It's a skill that you have to learn to acquire day in, day out, day after day.
The question is then, when do I settle? When do I quit? When do I move on? Because it's great. Probably someone on the other line's like, oh, that's great. You're a unicorn spiker. You went after it and you actually made it. You're one of a million kids that end up actually producing the result. You might be right. But here's the thing. You have to know when is it time to cash out? When is it the time to pivot? When is it time to move on? And that's a really difficult question to answer. But for me, it's pretty simple. Is that how much runway do you have left? If it would be like me like stopping the plane and saying, oh, we're not going to fly. But in reality, I have a whole nother 100 yards to actually go.
I have a theory on this. I think that if you put your heart and soul and tons and tons and tons and tons of time into something, whether that's baseball, your career, whatever it is, there will be a point where, like you said, the runway ends and you just look back at it and be like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay right now with walking away from that. But there's a lot of other times where if you ask yourself, are you okay stopping right now? In 10 days, are you okay with that? The answer is going to be no, because you know deep down inside of you that there's more left. There's more you could have done.
The worst part is if you have a lot of pressure on you and you're facing a lot of difficulties, that's not the time to quit.
Right.
Because you're going to regret that.
That's just adversity.
That's adversity. The time to quit, and I got this advice pretty early on. The time to quit is when everything's super easy. When you're literally sitting there and there's no pressure on you and you're in the driver's seat and you get the choice of, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of training. I'm tired of waking up early.
It's when it becomes a have to, not a want to.
Exactly. And the only time that happens is when your mind's completely clear. When your mind is in a rush where you feel like there's pressure on you and you feel like you can't get out of a rut, that's not the time to quit. The time to quit is when you have some success and you're doing well. And then even though you're doing well, you realize, I just don't have it.
You don't want to do it anymore.
I don't have that spark. And fortunately, I got a chance to play pro ball. A lot of guys don't get that chance. I didn't get to play affiliated ball, unfortunately. But when I got into pro ball, I was still filled with some piss and vinegar. I still had a chip on my shoulder. I still had something to prove. And then I got traded to back in here in St. Louis, super happy. And I ended up failing, got released, got on another team here in St. Louis again, got released again, even though I tried. And I called my dad on the way home and I said, you know what? I'm done with this damn game. I hate this game. This is stupid. And my dad told me, you can't quit. You're in a rut. So I went back to school, got my degree, and I decided to do another tryout. I told myself, do one more tryout. I'm in clear mind, do a tryout, have a successful one, be in the driver's seat. And then once I get that offer, I have the choice to either accept that offer or call it quits and move on. I ended up getting 2 calls, one in the Frontier League and then one in the Pecos League. The Frontier League, I was going to take it, but the only reason I didn't take it was because they required me to be up in Traverse City before I got my degree. They said, you can't get your degree. We need you here now. And I said, I can't do that. And so they withdrew the contract. Pecos League called and they said, we'll do anything. Just come down here when you're ready. I went down there, played really well. And I remember it was not a bus league. It was a drive league. So you had to drive yourself to the games. It wasn't a great league. But a lot of good players, just not really well run. And I was having success. And I remember driving home from one of our road games and I was having fun with the guys. We were 4 to a car. We were having a blast. Like, that's what memories are made. Like, there were so many cool times that happened during that league, even though we were living in like the worst conditions ever. And I thought to myself, I love the aspect of being with my friends. I love the aspect of just hanging out with them, but I hate getting ready for the game. I don't like it anymore. And I was a guy that loved doing that stuff. I hate getting in the cage before. I hate doing the after stuff to keep my body intact. And I was playing really well. And I went to my manager and I told him, hey, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to give you my 2 weeks. And he's like, Spike, I don't know if I can fill this in 2 weeks, but I will try. Can you stay for a month? And so I told him, yeah, I'll do that. And he was thinking that I would change my mind after a week, and we revened, and I was like, no, I'm out. Like, can you please get someone for me? And he finally got somebody in a week and a half, and then I was done. So the moral of that story is that I was in the driver's seat. Like, yeah, I didn't go after the big dream of playing Major League Baseball, but like, that wasn't really my end goal. My end goal was to play Division I baseball and have a shot at pro ball. And other guys like my friend Luke Voigt, his goal was Major League Baseball. He was filled more of piss and vinegar than I was, and I remember he came into the facility during his training, and I was talking to him, and he had a really good AA season, and I was like, "Are you excited to go back to Springfield?" And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I was like, "Good. I was just making sure that you understood where you should be at." He goes, "Oh yeah." So it's. Guys, the thing is that Luke Voigt wouldn't have been Luke Voigt if he didn't push the envelope. I wouldn't have gotten to Division I baseball if I didn't do the same. Like, I had so many people that said no to me. I mean, I couldn't even count it on 2 hands how many people have said no to me over the years. And I've had a lot of people that have believed in me. So it comes down to this, is that don't pack it in way too early when you still have runway. And if you're a junior in high school and you're thinking, I still want to play Division I baseball and I still want to go after this thing, you not being able to get a call from them your junior year just means that you're just not ready.
Right.
And the perfect situation is that I can go to junior college. I can go to Division II. If I go Division II and I crush it, guess what? You're in a better situation than I was. I couldn't go Division II and then jump D1. But now, with how the rules are, you can definitely do that. Definitely do that. Another guy that I'm thinking of is Kenny Piper. I remember having a conversation with him. He played for us
2017.
2017 was his last year.
Yeah.
We had each year we have this trivia night for our club, and he was working the trivia night, and it was his senior year, and he comes up to me and he goes, Spike, I'm thinking about taking the NAIA offer. And I was like, well, what's the offer? And he was like, it's full ride, and I might actually make some money out of it. I was like, interesting. He's like, but I want to play D1. So could I go like NAIA to D1? I was like, not with the rules how they are now, you can't.
Well, you could. It was just very unlikely.
It was very unlikely, yeah. I said, but you're getting your school paid for. You have a full ride. What's your end goal? He's like, pro ball. I want to play pro ball. And he's playing pro ball.
He's playing pro ball.
It wasn't D1. It was pro ball.
Let me, the two examples with you and with Kenny, okay? And this is a piece of advice for any people, any players who are listening to this, thinking about the adversity that they're facing right now and maybe on the verge of giving up or stopping or literally pivoting and quitting. In your situation, you had a good support system around you that knew that you would regret stopping at that point. They knew that you were not leaving on your terms. So they basically gave you the ultimatum of saying, no, you're not done. You got more. In Kenny's situation, his support system with his family has always been, sky's the limit, kid. Like, you're going to be a major leaguer. We support you, and you're going to work and this and that, and we believe. And that it doesn't matter if you go to Columbia College or the University of Missouri. It's just another step, right, towards the big leagues, towards professional baseball. And how many times do you think he could have literally quit? I mean, dude, he was one of the better players on the field and got no notice because he was a little guy, right? The support system, guys, is so important to surround yourself with people that are going to hold you accountable and also that are in there for your best interest, because you're going to be surrounded so often with people that are going to try to give you the easy way out. Nah, just quit. Just go do something else, man.
Hey, come to Ole Miss and party with us.
It's so hard. Well, whatever. Screw them. They don't know.
Hey, we're all going to Mizzou. Let's go party it up. You can just be a fraternity. It'd be fine.
And those are easy answers. Those are easy outs. But
again,
if you really want it.
I want to say this is that there's nothing wrong with a fraternity. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is something wrong with it if you have a loser's mentality and being like, yeah, I'm going to do that because I'm just going to forego the dream because that sounds way more enticing.
Just because I heard no a couple times. Just because I didn't get the interest that I thought I deserved right now. It's not how it works.
Anything that's an obstacle is worth pursuing, because when you go after that dream, you're going to learn way more stuff than any other person. You are not the average. Like, I had a conversation with one of our coaches, Silva. He listens to the podcast, and he was talking about his daughter and softball, and she didn't end up making what she wanted to make. And he was like, you're not the average. The average doesn't play.
Right. Well, yeah.
It's the same thing with college. If you get an offer from an NAIA school, you are not the average.
Right.
By statistical means, you are not the average. Listen back to episode 135. If you play Division I baseball and you're sitting the bench, you are not the average. All y'all are good players, and if anyone tells you that you're not, they're full of it.
Yeah,
it's someone that is either ego driven, or they're a person that didn't accomplish the things that you were about to accomplish. Going after a feat of college baseball is a noble thing, and you'll have so many more valuable lessons than you'll ever learn in a classroom.
I was just gonna say that. learning to work through adversity is a skill that will literally pay dividends for the rest of your life. And vice versa, pivoting away from adversity is going to lead to a lot of problems and issues for the rest of your life.
I'll just name a couple things that it helped me with that it gave me an unfair advantage over a lot of people my age when they were getting into the workforce. It helped me understand what anxiety was and how to handle anxiety. It helped me understand what a daily routine looks like and execute that daily routine. It helped me with discipline and knowing that I am the driver of that and that I have to make sure that I keep my focus in a certain area and not get diverted like a goldfish and look at shiny objects and go somewhere else. Those are just 3 things that has helped me. I bet you if I sat down and wrote down every single thing, the amount of value that I got out of that, granted to the point of actually how much money I've spent in pursuing that dream, I will take the value that I got from that every single time. It is worth the cost. And I still got paid to play. Yeah. It is worth the cost of pursuing. That is time, that is money. So you thinking that, oh, the dream is over and I don't have enough time and that no one's calling me, stop crying. Get after it.
Keep working.
Push the envelope, bro. And then if you end up being like a Rudy, where you end up going all the way and they still tell you no, then yeah, maybe that's a time to quit.
Yep. Maybe
just it's not in the cards. But if you look back and the runway that you just traveled, you're probably gonna say, damn, I learned so much and just that, and that. I can take that information and move it over here into the next passion and next interest that I want to tackle. And I already know where the pitfalls are. Yep. I already know where the no's are.
Look at all the skills you got.
I'll know how to actually tackle this thing. Mm-hmm. Hot damn.
Crazy how that works.
Guys, that's this episode of The Closing Pitch. Please give us your thoughts. You can tweet at me at Spiker Helms. You can tweet at David _Burkby.
David.
Well, I mean, you go from Dave to David. It's just like your handle is David. We'll call you Dave. What's going on with that?
I got a lot of hats, man.
All right, guys. We'll catch you in the next episode.
See ya.